Friends, fans, and fine folk, grab your drinks and snacks and come on down to the campfire for this short rest with me, my friend, Dungeon Studios. How's it going, everybody? Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Welcome in Dungeon Studios as a whole. Josh, Amber, Michael, some of Dungeon Studios, not all of Dungeon Studios. You are far too many people to have on all at once. This would have been my largest group of short rest ever if I had all of Dungeon Studios on. So I'm really glad that you guys could make the time to join us. Where are you joining me from? For the people at home.
I'm currently from Nevada. Amber is coming out of California.
Yep.
And Michael is all the way on the other side of the country, coming from Florida.
All the way out in Florida. I will be in Florida later this year, actually, and California.
Let's hang out.
Yeah.
I'm going to later this year. I'm going to Gen Con in August, and then after Gen Con, we're going to stay out and do a bit of traveling and going up to Toronto, across to Ottawa, down to New York, from New York to Orlando, and then flying to LA, and then from LA to the UK, which, yes, I know is the wrong direction, but
wow. Have you been to all those places before, or will it be your first time?
All but Orlando. I've never been to Florida before, which is going to be exciting.
It is going to be exciting.
Let Mike show you around. He'll show you all the great places.
Let me show you the world.
Are you anywhere near Orlando?
I'm 45 minutes away. It's a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah. We'll get in touch when we're Orlando ways then. Let's start with for the people in my community who don't know who the hell you are. Let's start with introductions. Who are you as individuals and as Dungeon Studio?
Josh, you want to start?
Sure. I'm Josh. I'm the CEO and creator of Dungeon Studios. And these are my glorious partners.
Cheers.
Cheers. So I'm Amber. Oh, sorry. What? Okay.
Introduce yourself, Amber.
I'm just going to go ahead and introduce myself. I'm just going to jump in. I'm Amber Davies. I am the Chief Project Director for Dungeon Studios. I'm also writer on several of their projects and also have my own channel, Pry Nerdy. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, and of course, host on the Game and Nerd News.
There you go.
Those are important. You should make sure you tell people about those. I'm Michael. I'm the media director, so I'm mostly in charge of a specific show, which is a lot of babysitting and a lot of creative output. It's called Fables from the Forgotten. It's our audio drama. I get to act in it, but I also do all of the editing, and I produce all of the fun sound effects and things to kind of immerse people into this wonderful world of Eneron that Josh has created.
It's very good. I in preparation for this, knowing what you guys do, I binged the Fables from the Forgotten that's on YouTube and was very impressed with it all. So I highly recommend.
Thank you for that.
Check it out.
Thank you.
So before we jump into the conversation, what I like to do here at Short Rest, because I'm calling it Short Rest, that implies that we are on some sort of a mission, some sort of a quest. So you guys are going to help me sort of world build Dungeon Master right now, with like coming up with what is it that we're on a mission for that needed a rest in the first place. What is the current quest that we're on? It could be something inspired by some. So some of my guests have been like, "Oh, I'm moving house at the moment, so we'll theme it around that." And other people have just been like completely out there, wacky, like we're in the middle of like jumping between planes of existence. And what are we doing that needs a short rest?
Well, I'm leaving tomorrow to go to a writers' retreat in Minnesota. So I am personally on a quest for the best story in the world.
So you're like a bard that's traveling the world looking for stories to tell, better inspirations.
Yeah.
What about
and I want to gain the love of my second favorite author.
Are we like
who will be there?
Are we like your backup singers or something? What are we in your traveling party?
I don't know. What are you guys questing for? Should we make this like a group thing?
A group quest.
Group quest.
What quest are you on, Michael?
Rob, something happened today. Something happened. A horrible thing happened.
Oh, no.
My favorite wing place shut down.
Oh, no.
Hooters?
after 30. No,
Did they
it's
go out-
it's Frank.
Did they,
It's
did they
Frankie's
go out of business,
here.
or were they just like shut down from health inspection problems? Or
Oh
something?
no. I think they gave up. But I'm on my Rob. Real talk. I'm on a quest for the best chicken wings. Okay, because my favorite wing place is Dunzo, and it was traumatizing. They've been in business for 35 years. This place was in business, and I have not been able to find a wing that can challenge these chicken wings. It's gone from existence. I went to a place today for lunch. I was out and about, and I said, "Oh, wings and things. Surely they must have wings and/or things." And so I went in, and I got some wings. Subpar. So.
Well, I mean, they promised you
Maybe
wings. They did not promise you they would be good.
Yeah, maybe it's because they split their focus onto other things as well, and they weren't just a wings place.
I need some wings, Rob. That's what I quest.
You need to find a place that's just called Wings and not Wings and Things, and then you know that they only focus on wings. Correct. All right, so you're on a quest to find wings. Amber, you're on a quest to find the best story. Josh, what are we questing for?
Oh man, I would really love to quest for some time freedom. I don't know if it's a vacation I need, a staycation, or some medication, but I need something.
I think you're like you're a wizard looking for like the spell time stop.
There we go. There we go.
You're looking for some time manipulation magics, right? And then I'm gonna be I'm a little gnome that's just questing for shinies. I just want loot. I just want magic items and shiny things and gold and.
So we're gonna find the wings, and you're gonna find the things.
Yeah, you guys find.
There you go.
So this is the quest that we're on at the moment, and we're having a short rest. Where have we stopped in a cave? Have we stopped in a tavern? Where are we short resting?
We're definitely in the woods.
Oh, in the woods. Okay, yeah, I was going to say by a waterfall.
In the woods, by a waterfall. Those both work.
We've traveled long and hard for these wings, and surely a forest is where.
Every time we murder an animal out in the woods, or a monster of some kind, a displacer beast, you're like hacking it apart, seeing if you can make wings out of it.
If I can at least attempt to recreate the recipe, I will give it a shot. I will.
While you hack at the corpse of whatever we've just slain, Amber's there writing stories. What rhymes with displacer? Displacer.
Yes.
Tentacle. Tentacle. It was meant to kill.
Phoenix.
It was sent to kill us, but it was tentacle, and you're like trying to make yourself a story and bardic inspirations.
I'm impressed. That was pretty good for being on the spot.
All right, what are we drinking and eating at this short rest, both IRL and in character? I just tend to have my water. What you got in your cup there, Amber?
I'd like to say it's whiskey, but it's water.
Water. Gotta stay hydrated. Anybody drinking anything more exciting?
I got water.
I got some Evan Williams bourbon. A good old
He's the only
American
exciting
bourbon.
one.
Hashtag not sponsored. Yeah, he's the only one. The guy who's looking for wings is also the guy who's drinking bourbon. Makes sense.
Of course.
Evan Williams is your character name.
Welcome to Florida.
So yeah, Evan Williams or William Evans. So now that we're short rested, we've got ourselves a campfire going. We're cooking up some displacer wings. Let's start with talking about the name. I like to start with the name of the brand. Where did Dungeon Studios come from? It's pretty self-explanatory, but I imagine there must be some kind of a story of like other things you went through to try and land on Dungeon Studios.
Well, it kind of all goes back to the good old days of the pandemic.
Yeah, as most does.
And you know, we had a group of players where we were playing, you know, on a regular basis, and we had, you know, really good mojo, and you know, we were really into our RP and driving the storyline and creating these really cool stories. And you know, just like a lot of other people, figured, hey, we'll make a live stream out of this, you know.
Yeah.
So basically turned my garage into a studio and built this huge D&D table, and we got tripods that were mounted for cameras and stuff, because we wanted to kind of have that feel of being at the table instead of just a bunch of boxes, little Twitch windows playing D&D, you know. And so we went with that, and we created the name Dungeon Stream. Um, and then we got the idea that if we put these stories that we're creating into like adventure module platform, we would be able to kind of try and market some of this stuff that we were creating.
Right.
And that's where like the whole creation of the world of Eneron came from. Is basically at that point, I figured, okay, I got to put more depth into this world and flesh it out completely. And that's kind of what we did. And then we started to build these adventure modules out of the adventures that we had created and played through. And that was our volume 1 collection, which went out on Kickstarter. And we just kind of started building from there. And then we decided, okay, well, we can't be really just associated with a stream anymore. And the name Dungeon Stream kind of really reflected that hard. So we looked at some changes and we settled on Dungeon Studios because it kind of outlined more of what we wanted to do as a whole, better than Dungeon Stream.
Yeah, fair enough. And do you remember any other contenders that you were looking at the time, or was it just pretty much Dungeon Studios was one of the first ones and made sense?
Well, that one definitely came out to be the winner. I know there were others that we talked about, but
I'm always just interested in like the alternate universes where where some of the big names that we hear about are actually called something completely different because they came close to like tossing up between two things.
It could have been Dungeon Crap, but it just didn't roll off the tongue very well.
Well, I think this one ultimately ended up as the winner because there wasn't another business named that.
I was gonna ask that next. Like, it seems like you must have been lucky to get in early enough to snag that up, because so many things these days, like I talk to people all the time on Short Rest, and I'm like, how did you name this? And they're like, I want it to be called this, or I want it to be called that, or I wanted something with critical in the name, or something with dice, or something with dungeon, or something. And it's like all of them are gone. Every pun you can imagine has been used, with dungeons and daddies and drunkards and dragons and dungeons and flagons and just like they're all in use. So people have used them all. And so to just get something as nice and simple and straightforward and memorable as Dungeon Studios, like, you must have been lucky.
And once we settled on the name, we had to come up with a fresh logo for it, and then we kind of settled on the all-seeing eye. We kind of felt that it represented like wisdom and insight for us. As a lot of what we want to do is make things immersive for the people that use our modules or experience our entertainment.
So you say that the stream came from just just being players anyway, and just being like, yeah, we should be streaming this.
Yeah, basically that's what happened. And
so
usually go ahead.
If we go back even further, then like what brought you into the tabletop role playing in the first place? Then, like, what were you guys doing? Was it anything to do with like the hobbies that you had already, or was it completely different to what your careers were at the time?
Well, for me, I was actually on probably like a 8-year like hiatus from playing. Like,
Right.
The last thing I had played was, I don't know, probably like 3rd edition D&D. And I was focusing on career and life and stuff like that. And then, met the people that I play with now. And, one of them, he's like a blacksmith. He's always making something cool. And, another one of the guys, he actually was my brother's like best friend and stuff. And anyways, we all were kind of hanging out, and somebody brought up D&D, and we started talking about it, and everybody had kind of like their own story of when they used to play.
Yeah.
And at the time, I think everybody was kind of on a hiatus kind of thing going too. And basically, we just kind of planned a night to get together one night and do like some character creation. And it just so happened that the blacksmith He had all of the books for 5e, so that made it nice and easy. And we just we just got together, planned some characters, kind of did like a session 0 type thing. And then everybody decided that I was going to be the DM. So
You had no choice.
The blacksmith's like, yeah, I've got all of the books. You're going to DM though.
That's exactly what he did. Yeah.
I'm wondering if the hiatus was 4E. That's what it seems like for everybody I know.
Pretty much.
Yeah, the last time I played was 3, and then jumped over 4 and landed in 5.
Exactly.
I know some people that swear by 4. There's some people who are adamant.
I thought 4 was a myth.
And everybody talks about the myth of 4. It's like the boogeyman. You better behave, because if you don't stop fudging your dice, you're gonna have to start playing 4th edition. Yeah. No, I was one of my friends has lent me 4th edition rule set, and I've got it sitting here on a bookshelf that I have not gotten around to reading in about 2 or 3 years since she lent it to me. And I keep telling her I'll send it back as soon as I've read it. I'll eventually get around to it, because there's so many things that I hear about 4th edition that I'm like, I reckon that would actually I would steal that for 5th edition. I would steal that for my home games, like the minions
right.
and the skill checks and the stat blocks just being much more interesting than the 5th edition stat blocks and stuff. So I reckon there's parts in it that I'll probably really enjoy once I finally get around to reading it. But now I've got the PDF for 1D&D that's coming out in a few months, and I now need to open that and read that as well. So there's so many other editions. I'm only just getting around to the concept of like I should read 4th edition, and now
I still say someone needs to make a audiobook version of reading these manuals. It would be so helpful.
Yeah, I mean,
Amber.
I
get on that, Rob.
I have done similar things. I've got a series on my YouTube called Robert Reads, where I do read
things.
Really? And I have read various different of the books before. I read through Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, and I read through Xanathar's Guide to Everything. I read through the...
I've seen your Robert Reads. I've seen them.
You've seen some Robert Reads? Some of them are just like stories like Sherlock Holmes or whatever, that public domain stories. But yeah,
I mean, with that accent, I would totally listen to you read through like the entire player's handbook. That would be so helpful.
There you go. Then maybe I should pre-record me reading the PDF for 1D&D, so that when it's released in September, I think, then I can put it up and just be like, bam, a video already made of Robert Reads the entire thing.
Great idea.
Yeah. What were we talking about? So you got into D&D through that. What was the very first edition that all of you played? How long have you been playing D&D?
I played, probably 5 for him, huh? I was gonna say I think it was either 3 or 3.5. I don't recall. My DM had the books and brought me into it.
I had
Sorry, go on.
I had an older cousin who played advanced D&D when I was a kid, and
Spooky Jerry.
Spooky Jerry.
Is Spooky Jerry your cousin? Spooky Jerry?
Yeah, Spooky Jerry.
Yeah.
He was really into advanced D&D, and when I was in like junior high, we played that.
And were you like already into like other nerdy stuff before getting into D&D, or was it kind of like a first toe into realizing that you're nerds?
Oh gosh, mine went back all the way to Oregon Trail. I remember playing Oregon Trail on the computer, and my mind was blown that like there was no right or wrong. Well, there is. I mean, you die, but there were choices.
I think Oregon Trail's a weird choice for that one. It's like there's no right or wrong. No, everything is a wrong choice in Oregon Trail.
Damn that dysentery.
There's just no right answers in Oregon Trails.
But I think that's what blew my mind, was that there was a game where it was all up to me
to make a choice
to make a choice, and then that's where the nerdiness started. And then it was the first D&D session that I got brought into by a friend, and I believe with that session I was so excited to try it. I had stomach flu that night, and I still went. And my friends were so understanding. They let me go upstairs and stay in like one of the beds until like I was done throwing up, and then I came down and joined the game.
Oh wow, there's some understanding friends.
And then I was hooked.
And Michael, you said that you jumped in a 5th edition, so you're a more recent convert to the D&D.
Yeah, I basically got into it and immediately had to learn how the game worked and bought all the books, and I was like, great, I have no one to play with, so I had to learn how to DM so I could get some fucking nerds together so I could play this game. So
You're so angry, Mike.
Well, okay, so it took a lot. It did take a lot to play my first game because I had to. So I don't do anything half-assed. So what I did was I created my own world and I created my own settings and I created the campaign from scratch. My first time doing it, I was like, I turned it into a creative output and put all of my pent up creative energy into this campaign and produced a lot of these really amazing characters and situations and places and things. And I think we did we did 7 sessions and then no one played it again. And I have all of these books and things that I wrote that didn't see the light of day, which made me sad. But I fell in love with it.
What was it that got you into it in the first place then, if you had no one to play? Like, why did you jump into
I heard
it and buy all the books?
I heard a podcast. I heard a podcast of some people playing this game, and I was like, oh, that sounds nice.
Do you remember which podcast it was?
Yeah, of course.
What was it?
It was the McElroy Adventure Zone.
It's so good, right? It's so good.
Yeah.
Was it the first season? Balance?
Yes. No, was Balance the first season?
Balance was first. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Taco.
Yeah. It's such a good one. I know a lot of my friends are fans of Adventure Zone as well. It was one of the things that got me into it as well. I was into board game. Like a friend introduced me to board games. I started getting hooked on board games. I didn't have that many people to play board games with that actually had time to play board games because I was I was studying to be an actor, or I was a full-time actor, and meaning unemployed. And so I had a lot more time than all of my employed friends. And so I was like, I got no one to play board games with. And so I started watching like Will Wheaton's Tabletop series to learn about board games and watch other people playing board games. And then I watched them playing the Dragon Age role-play game. And that looked so much fun. And I was like, I think this is what Dungeons and Dragons is, isn't it? And so I started looking around for like a game to play in D&D. And I found a game. And as soon as I played it, I was like... hooked, heroin in the veins, pupils dilate. I need more of this immediately. Let's get the books. And I just like absorbed it and started DMing ever since.
Will Wheaton is cursed.
Did you go straight to DMing or did you play for a while?
I played for like a month or so at most before I was like, I want to DM, and I took it on, and I've been a DM ever since. I enjoy playing, but DMing is much more enriching and rewarding for me.
The power.
Yeah, the power and the control of it.
I'm surprised. I guess I figured as an actor, I thought you would want the role play more, or I don't know. Maybe that's.
He gets to be 1,000 people.
I get to be everybody.
This is true. Okay.
One of the reasons that I loved acting was the opportunity to be everything, because I'd get so bored if I pursued like one career for the rest of my life, and it was like, oh, I'm an accountant for the rest of my life, or I'm a lawyer, or I'm a doctor, or whatever. And I'd be like, yeah, this was fun for a year, and now I want to be something else. As an actor, I was like, this time I get to be an astronaut on set, and now I get to be a doctor, and then I get to be a police officer, and then I get to be a whatever. And it scratches the same sort of itch to be a dungeon master, where I'm like, oh, you're talking to this guy? Yeah, he's a blacksmith, and what would it be like to be a blacksmith? And then suddenly you're talking to a cleric or a priest or whatever. So
I have a question for you, Rob.
I'll probably have an answer for you, Michael.
So, with your history in maths, as you put it,
I mean,
maths.
I don't give a shit.
Maths. So, with your history, was that compelling to you as you're DMing, trying to keep track of all these stats and compounding numbers and all these things? Was that something that was drawn that you made you drawn to?
My fans tell me that with a degree in acting and a degree in mathmaths, I basically have a degree in Dungeons and Dragons because it's
okay. There it is. Yeah,
it's a background in storytelling and a background in numbers, and I'm very good at both, and it gives me this overlap of like, I really enjoy the storytelling aspects, the role playing aspects, the designing the arcs of a campaign so that they're really rewarding and satisfying for the players to like play out things, and reveals and big like twists and stuff, and the world building. All of that comes from like my creative acting background, and then the numbers and stats and balance and working out cool mechanics that are like, oh, and then there's a table of charts, and then using Excel spreadsheets to be like, oh, and then this is, and you can roll this table, and then that leads you to this table, and then that gives you this abilities, and all of that analytic side of things comes from my background in mathematics and my love of numbers and stuff. And so yeah, works really well for being a dungeon master.
I bet.
Yeah, it's just so interesting. That's why I was wondering about whether you preferred to be a player or a DM, because I actually prefer to be a player, and I'm also a writer, and I'm wondering if I love the role play aspect of it is what it is. And so I was wondering, why don't I love to DM as much as I love to play when it comes to the role play? And I'm wondering if it's because I like to dig deeper into the character, maybe because I'm a writer. I don't know.
Yeah, and
you ever DM?
Get into one character focus rather than being like surface level character.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, maybe. Because I love that as well. Like when I do on the rare occasions get a chance to be a character, it's fantastic to be like, oh, like 12 sessions into a campaign, you're really starting to dig deep and find things in this character that you didn't notice in the first few sessions. It's one of the reasons that I kind of get bored of one shots. If I am going to be a player, I'd rather be a player in like a 3-shot at least, so that you've got like a beginning, middle, end. You've got time to get into something with that character, get your teeth into something, rather than just be like, oh, that was another throwaway character, I'll add it to the list on D&D Beyond, and I've got like 70 different characters that I've played at various different times that I don't even remember.
Right. Yeah. See, I've been playing the same character now for about 7 or 8 years.
Damn,
so I know her really well, and I just enjoy it so much. And well, we started in 3.5, and then we moved it over to 5e.
And what's your character? What level is she after 7 or 8 years?
We are level 17 right now, and we were about to just end the campaign, and then the DM said, well, since we're this far, do you guys just want to take it to level 20? And we're like, yeah. But it's taken us this long to get to level 17. Right. So it could be another, like, I don't know, several years before we finish.
How often do you get to play?
About once a month, sometimes less. It just depends on everybody's schedule.
Nice. How about yourself, Josh? Do you get to be a player much?
Sometimes I get to be a player, but not very often. I'm always usually the DM. As a matter of fact, I'm DMing right now. The same people.
Right now.
Well, not right now,
right
but
now,
you know,
just typing in. It's a Discord.
Time to roll some dice.
Weekly, so that's quite a bit, I would say. You know, most people do like bi-weekly or something, but yeah, we're playing weekly right now.
Yeah, it's a lot. I've got like 7 or so campaigns that I'm running at the moment. That,
how do you keep them all straight?
I don't know, because I've invented them all. Like I come up with them all, and so
that helps when you've homebrewed them all.
Have you ever been doing one campaign and then think it's a part of another one and insert something you shouldn't have?
I've never slipped up like that, but I do have most of them, except for the Viva La Dirt League stuff. Most of my other games are all in my own homebrew world. And they're all taking place pretty much concurrently in various different areas. So sometimes I do have to keep a track of like which NPCs these guys have met. I'm like, you haven't been there yet, so you don't know that guy yet, or you have, you do know that guy, but you didn't learn that secret information about him that the other team knew, and so I have to keep that sort of stuff in my head a little bit. So where did you begin? So after Dungeon Studios, the brand was named, and you were like, let's make content under this brand. What was the first thing you do? Because you do a whole bunch. You can see a bunch of the things below me here, the different logos of the various different things you'd run. But what was the first one?
So the first, what we started with first was creating the adventure modules. And you know, the dream is to put out our own settings book, our own supplement books, and our own venture modules that go along with the world of Eneron, you know, and kind of bring it out to everybody else. So that is where we started. It's still very much in the works. The writing team is constantly working on the world of Eneron before we put the settings book out, because we want to cover all of the bases and we want to make it a really good one to have out there. So the writing team has been working on that. And so after, you know, we put out a couple of Kickstarters for the adventure modules. we wanted to kind of start getting into some other content. So we put together the game, which is our talk show podcast, and we got us a couple of good personalities to start that up, and we kind of ran it as like a live show. It was almost like a variety show when it first started.
Right.
But then we kind of transitioned it, and that's kind of when Amber came into the story, was with the game. She had been doing some writing for us and working on some of our various other projects. Like we did have a webzine that went out for a while called the Enteron Chronicle. It was really cool. It had a bunch of like one-page dungeons and stuff in it, and really cool like small little pieces of content. There was like tokens and stuff in there sometimes, just just a bunch of different things. We put spells and
Monster
beasts
cards,
and monster cards in there. So that was pretty cool. But then we brought her over onto the game, and that's kind of where she made her home. And
so where did
she
where did you come from before that, Amber? Like, how did you get involved with them in the first place with the writing and stuff?
Well, so I got involved with them because they had put out like a call for writers, and I had for a long time I had been working, an office job, and kind of that ended, and so I had spent like a year just focusing on becoming a published author. I was able to get a short story published, and after that I just wanted to keep the momentum going, and so I had seen them put a call out for writers, and I thought, this is great, this is going to combine my two loves. I can write, and it's about D&D. Like, what's better than that? So I joined on, and I mean, ask Josh. I think in my first interview, I was like, I just want to be involved. Put me in, coach, in all the things. And so I tried to get into as much as I could of Dungeon Studios. And I think it wasn't until I got on the game that I kind of discovered this weird love of being on camera, which sounds bad. I don't know, but I just really, I like, I don't know, being a personality and having fun with the audience. And so, yeah, it just kind of went from there.
Nice. And was it tied? You said you discovered you a nerd like way before. Like, did you discover you were a writer around the same time as you discovered you're a nerd, or did you always know you wanted to be a writer and then you like discovered the nerdy stuff, or like vice versa?
Actually, I think I knew I wanted to be a writer before I found the nerdy stuff. I think it kind of comes in line with being a writer, maybe.
Yeah.
But my first books that I read were Stephen King books. That was
Were you writing when you were like a kid as well, like writing
Yes.
little stories and stuff for your families? And
Yeah, I joined like creative writing summer camps and things like that, and I saved little newspaper articles that I thought were really interesting. They were usually about murderers, but don't be concerned. But I just always filed them away, like, this is a great story idea. And then, long story short, life happened, and so I just thought, creative endeavors aren't going to make money, so I need to do an office job. Did that. And it wasn't until like I have two sons, they're both older, and now I have kind of my own life back, that I decided, and I had, lost that job. And so I had that year where I was focused on writing and just figured I'm just going to keep pushing towards writing and creative endeavors.
Were you doing anything creative outlets and stuff while you were doing the office job? Was it like keeping up the writing as hobbies and stuff, or no? Just not enough the time
not
with the
really.
kids?
Yeah, the kids' life.
Long drought of it, unfortunately, then.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why I'm so hungry for it now, and why like I refuse to grow up. Like I just turned 40. I just turned 45. But I'm like, yes, all the fun colors. I want unicorn hoodie and pink socks with Christmas leggings all the time.
Nice. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, if you can, you can. And what sort of size are we talking for Dungeon Studios at the time that Amber came on board? Like, how many people were actually calling themselves Dungeon Studios?
So we probably had, when she came on board, we probably had a team of about I don't know, 8 or 10 writers, and probably a handful of artists, and a few musicians and stuff that we were working with. At that point, we hadn't even brought in any voice actors or anything like that yet. That all came later. But yeah, we were in that kind of growing phase, kind of trying to get more people to work on these different projects that we had. And kind of the cool thing about Dungeon Studios is it's kind of always been a place where anybody who's got like a creative talent and stuff like that and really wants to kind of like express it and things like that, we welcome them there. And everybody kind of works together. It's kind of a big collective of creatives. That's part of what really makes it great there.
Yeah, that's cool. So
Because
you started with you started the game and started that up. Did it see immediate like success? Like people were enjoying it? What sort of fandom or what sort of community had you managed to build by this point?
So it's been our first kind of dealing with like a podcast. So we were constantly learning things and trying to adapt to like what the viewers wanted to see. So
I think length was probably like there were a lot of learning lessons in the beginning. I think in the beginning we were going at like 4.5
3 or 4
hours at some
hours,
point for an episode. It was a long one.
It was really
but-
long form.
Yeah. So yeah, there was just a lot of learning along the way and tailoring to meet, I think, audience expectations.
So it's kind of a lot of grind, like being like, how do we grow the numbers? Was there like chasing the algorithm kind of thing as well? Of like
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a pain in the ass, probably.
It really is. It really, especially when you have a vision for the way you maybe want the show to go, but that doesn't fit what the algorithm wants.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody the other day about like, I don't know about putting up. They were sort of just like back and forth on various different things, and I was like, I'm not sure about putting up a 5-hour video on YouTube. Like, even if it's very good, it's people are going to see it and be like, nope. And like 5-hour stream on Twitch, people don't bulk at because Twitch is different and like they've got a different audience and people are expected to be like tuning in and tuning out and coming and going on Twitch and stuff. And then like 5 hours later, they'll come back in and be like, "Oh, you're still streaming." Whereas like 5-hour video on YouTube is very different. Even though they can just pause it and pick up again where they left off. It's
actually, I find that interesting.
That sort of stuff.
I've had people tell me that if they see something and it's more than 20 minutes, they won't even bother.
Yeah. And then they'll spend 2 hours scrolling on shorts on YouTube or TikTok or something instead. Interesting.
I'm one of those people.
Yeah, I'm one of those people too. Like I'll look at a video and be like, 30-minute video, no thanks. Oh, it's an hour later and I'm still on YouTube Shorts.
Yep.
And then after the game, where did we go from there?
Oh, okay. So after the game, well, actually, as we were doing the game, that's kind of when Michael came into play too, because he has a podcast himself called Michael and Jeremy Steal Your Podcast, and they came and stole the game.
Okay. So that's actually how you guys got introduced. You stealing the game, stealing the podcast.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So we'll pause and go back to Michael then. Where were we before? This is like one of those stories where you like you stop and then you jump back in time to tell the various different.
Yeah.
Where were you coming at this from, Michael? How long had you been doing the Steal Your Podcast?
It was actually it wasn't very long. I think that it was September of 2021. What? No, 2022?
Yeah.
Josh, help me. Yes, right.
Yeah,
okay.
22.
Yeah, it was September 22, and I had reunited with my cousin, and him and I were best friends growing up our whole lives, and then we just kind of split, and then we got back together when he moved like back home, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm back home," and I was like, "We're doing a podcast," and then we started the podcast. It started going good, and then it was, believe it or not, it was a post Josh had put for voice actors for an upcoming project called Fables from the Forgotten. And I responded as a voice actor for that project. And then they were intrigued when I said, I have a podcast. It's called Michael and Jeremy Steal Your Podcast. And so no, it was yeah, you guys were looking for voice actor, and then you said you should steal the game. That's what it was. So I got on for Fables as a voice actor, and then stole the game. And then me and Jeremy did a thing, and Josh, we did a fun skit about stealing the game, and then we stole the game. It was very fun and exciting. I actually, Josh, I made the casting call for a voice actor because I'm very talented. And then we started doing Fables after a while. You know, when things like these are going down, the people involved, they're trying to build an empire. It's all time. You're donating your time for these projects, and some people can't do that. So as time went on, people that were involved would drop off, and people who were there would step up. I was one of those people that stepped up and turned into not only just a voice actor for the project, but as I was doing my own podcast, I learned a lot of tools, which most of my podcast, not most of it, but like there's a portion that involves a lot of like engineering, because I do I do elaborate heists for the podcasts that I steal. So I'll do a fully immersive situation where me and my cousin Jeremy are stealing someone's podcast, and sometimes we go to space, and sometimes we drill through the earth, and sometimes we do all these crazy things. And there's a fun, you know, intro and outro to that show. And so because of those skills that I learned, I became the media director for Fables. To actually, we didn't have anybody to put, we were, all these voice actors were acting and with these great scripts and these great writers and putting out this great content, but there was nobody to like put the whole thing together. So I was like, I can do it. It's me. It has to be me. Right.
I have the skills. I can build this.
And so that's what happened.
And where did the idea for Fables come from in the first place then, if that was something that was being tossed around when Michael came on board?
So the idea for Fables came from a little bit of the lore that we put down for the gods of Eneron. So the gods of Eneron, they kind of have a weird, different way that we do it. So we have what are called ancient gods, which are like they're like supreme gods, right? And they have gods that are under them, which we call Eternals. And a couple of these Eternals have some really interesting stories. And we used the story to kind of put the idea together, because we knew we wanted to do a audio drama. We knew we wanted it to be like anthology styled. We kind of really wanted to kind of grasp a little bit of that Tales from the Crypt feel. You know, maybe like, you know, some Twilight Zone feel sometimes. And then we kind of gave that to the writers, and they started writing the stories. As they were writing the stories, we were still trying to come up with the name. And it went through like several forms. I think at one time everybody couldn't quit calling it Fables for the Forgotten or something like that. Wasn't that a thing for a while, Mike?
I think I made that mistake too.
Fables of. They just couldn't stop. And,
which is funny because that is taken.
It's the alliteration of Fables 4.
Oh, it's taken? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But then we got these beautiful stories crafted by the writers. And then the only challenge was finding people that can turn them into a script, because, you know, not every story writer can write things into a script.
Yeah.
More people.
And so, yeah, we had to seek out more people. So we found some people that can do some script writing.
And who's payrolling all of this? Who's funding all of these various different people that you keep getting on board? Like, that's
I think it's
funny
that you say it's me and Josh now.
Well, yeah.
And Amber.
So, since I've been able to bring on my team, which I've now made these guys partners with me on this endeavor.
Okay. Awesome.
And, you know, but before them, it was solo me.
And it was coming from was it self-sustaining? Was the money that it was bringing in?
No,
And so it was just like,
I'm still in the negative.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a labor of love.
yeah, labor of
Yeah.
love. A lot of these things start that way, and we just hope that one day it'll get to a point where it's actually paying for itself, and the outgoings
Right.
that it's producing. So you brought on the writers, which may I say is a very interesting and a little more unique way of doing it than I see in a lot of Dungeons and Dragons content created. It's like often we see world building leads to creating a setting to play an actual play in, and then maybe other things branch off of the actual play, like animation or various different stories that you can tell from about the actual play, or fan artwork and things. But rarely do I see world building for the sake of just writing stories in the world without actually doing like an actual play and then adapting the actual play instead.
Yeah,
We'll have our settings book out
It's a smart
soon.
choice. So sorry, I was going to say, I don't know if that's a smart choice or not, because there are so many live plays. I personally love that it's different, that we have taken a different tact, because then it sets us apart. But maybe that's a poor choice, because people are always looking for new live play shows to watch.
We're also going to be if anybody does fall in love with our settings as we are telling these stories, it's great because we will have a full published settings book out soon.
So then they can play their own actual play in that world.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
That is
And I think
literally
we do
it.
have
We're
plans
this
to do
close.
some
We're
live plays, don't we?
this close to the settings books being done and published.
Nice. I'm working on a settings book myself now, pretty much as a solo endeavor at the moment. We're going to be getting more people involved to help out, hopefully, because that's a lot of work for one person.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Rob.
It's the Viva la Dirt League setting, and they want to make a Kickstarter next year for it. And I was like, I want to have as much of the book done as possible before the Kickstarter goes live.
Right.
So it means working on the book pretty much every available opportunity.
I love that for you.
You guys about the logistics of writing a settings book, and maybe you've got insight for me to
a lot of coding, believe it or not, which is weird in writing.
Coding?
Yeah.
Why is there coding
to format
in writing?
it?
That's weird.
Oh right, yeah. Thankfully, that's going to be completely that's not my side of things. I'll hand it to the Viva guys and be like, you find a layout
out
designer,
there who does
you
that.
find a layout designer, you find a graphic designer, you find artists. That's all.
Yeah, and we're doing all of it in house for ours. Yeah,
nice.
we have artists, we have writers, we have coders, we have everyone. We aren't outsourcing anything to any. We're all a team. We're all a family. We're all a coalition.
Wow, you doing a Kickstarter for it or anything?
We did.
We've had 2 Kickstarters out there. We will be doing a Kickstarter for the settings book once that gets fully completed.
Yeah.
And we got some plans for some cool like stretch goals and things like that to go along with it, like some supplements and different things like that. But we do have some other cool adventures in the pipeline too. We've been wanting to kind of dip into like some animation stuff. So I mentioned about how we developed our stories into scripts. We actually picked up some really, really good script writers during that endeavor, and we are doing something we're calling I don't know if I can
right now. Are you gonna do it right? Are you gonna do it, Josh? Are you gonna do it right now on Rob's stream?
What is happening? Is this an exclusive?
All right, so we have our script writers working on a project called Project Organo.
Okay.
And that's about the most I can give to it.
Okay.
It's script writers working on a project.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's something we have in the pipeline. We are currently working on season 2 for Fables from the Forgotten, which season 1 is currently in its mid. It's like right in the middle.
Yeah, right in the middle of season 1. We're working on season 2 right now. Yep.
And like we have an animation idea that we want to kind of put into works. We're actively looking for animators right now. So if anybody has any animation skills, feel free to send me a message, because we are looking to put something together on that end too.
Otherwise, I'll have to do it.
Lofty goal. Like animation is so expensive.
Yeah, it is. But I got a plan for that, and if it works, it'll be cool.
Awesome.
So But
All
this
besides
top,
that,
top secret stuff we can't talk about. I'm sure it's super entertaining.
No, I mean it's exciting. It's got me wondering what I'm trying to decode Project Organa. I'm like
No, Dragano.
Dragano. Okay, so I was thinking I heard Organa, and I was like Organa,
Star Wars.
like Leia Organa, so maybe Star Warsy themed or like something to do with Princess Leia, like a hint about that. Organa,
Project
like
Schmagana.
oregano. Oregano is often used to represent weed in movies, so you're getting into the drug industry. You're gonna grow hydroponic,
and that's how we're gonna bankroll all of it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Project Oregano.
Project Oregano. Awesome.
I do have a little homestead that we can just grow all of this oregano in my yard.
Here's the
I
thing
can't
that
smoke weed, Rob. I can't do it.
What? You can eat it, right? No?
No, I can't do that either. It makes me very paranoid.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's not paranoia if they're actually coming for you, though. So.
He's the Florida man.
Constant threat here in Florida.
You have made some enemies.
I gotta stay on my toes.
Them termites coming for you. You killed one of
I'm
those.
super
No, what are you talking
excited,
about?
though.
I'm their number 1 predator right now. So
Yeah. Only
I'm
if you
super
got
excited
one-on-one.
for Fables second season. I haven't even had a chance to talk to Josh or Mike about this yet, but I had met with our script writer after one of our last voice actors meeting because we were trying to figure out where we were going to take season 2, and it became this session where we were just like, oh, what about this idea? Oh my gosh, I love that. What about this idea? Yes. And then we do this, and then this is how we're going to do this. And I came away from that meeting so charged, and I cannot wait. And they don't even know yet because I haven't had a chance to meet with them yet about that.
It's exclusive on my channel, even to you guys.
Yeah.
you know what? You know what, Rob? Rob, go pee or go do whatever it is you're gonna do. We're gonna have a Dungeon Studios
meeting. Have a quick meeting.
Coming in. Yeah, you guys have a meeting. So where were we up to? So you got Michael on board. You started doing Fables. Is there anything that came after that, like or concurrent with that?
Okay, so
that started.
Yeah, well, while the game was
out.
running and Fables was being built, we did try to experiment with some other forms of content, which we still kind of want to circle back to. One of them was a short stream that I put on myself called Tabletop Cinema. Essentially like commentary. We would watch clips.
You're cutting in and out, Josh. All right.
I'm cutting it out.
You were.
I ruined it with my pour. I'm sorry.
Michael
was pouring right
pouring
against
whiskey.
the microphone, which is very, very trollish of him and not something that I would ever do. Not something that I do frequently on my channel. What?
Tabletop cinema.
Basically it was a kind of commentary show. We would view clips from like movies, TV shows, video games, and basically as we're watching the clip, we would provide commentary and stuff, and then we would kind of go into a discussion format where we would kind of try and take that scene that we watched and kind of turn it into a D&D scenario.
Nice.
And on how it would play out. And they were probably about half-hour little shows. We put that out there. Nobody really liked it.
A mystery science theater feel a little bit.
Yeah, right. We did a similar thing called movie nights in preparation for the D&D movie that came out last year. Me and a few friends went through all of the D&D movies and watched them like every other week or something, and watched.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I know, right? and then we rated them afterwards on a rating scale of giving them stats, like what the movie's stats would be. Where
that's cool.
Where strength was everything related to like stunts, physical acting, that sort of stuff, and then dexterity was like, I think it's any choreography that had happened, like fight choreography or like dance choreography or anything that's like that sort of thing. Constitution was rewatchability, I think, like whether it was a rewatchable movie.
Like if it would hold
was
up.
The script, and like whether it was a very clever script or there was any twists and turns and stuff. Can't remember. One of them was to do with the special effects and one's to do with like visual effects and things. And we rated them out of 20 for each of them and gave them all stats. And majority of they got worse. They started bad and got worse. And I think I think even the first one, which was the best of the Bad Bunch, still had an average stat of like 4. Like most of its stats were like 3, 4, 5 in all of those things. God, they were garbage movies. And then I watched the latest, the Honor Among Thieves, and I actually really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
I did enjoy it too. Yeah, there's things about it I didn't like, but I did enjoy the movie as a whole.
For sure. So, what point did Nerd News come about then?
Okay, so Nerd News is one of our more recent projects. I think it's been about 6 months we've been kind of putting that together or so.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah,
we it used to be a little clip in the game. The game used to have kind of these different segments, and Nerd News was its own segment. And at some point when we were realizing that the show was just too long and we needed to trim it down, Nerd News was the one section that we were like, we need to keep this and maybe make it its own show.
Its own thing,
and that's how it came about.
And it's just as the title would assume, it's just like keeping you up to date on things that are happening in the nerd sphere.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, 9 times out of 10, Wizards of the Coast takes up a majority of the show.
They don't have to make a lot of news, given their choices. Like,
but we do try to report on other things that are nerdy, and of course we're biased on the things that we're nerdy about. So, Henry Cavill makes a lot of appearances in my show.
We covered the Dead Wars.
We did. We covered the Dead Wars, and we still have tons of material there that we got to put out.
For those who don't know, I don't remember the titles. The Dead Wars was the thing in Utah that I went to, the world record sized game of Dungeons and Dragons, with like 1,400 people playing this year. 1,475.
1,700.
1,700.
What was that? The end number?
I had
the end number.
17 was the end. The end number was 17. Yeah.
I mean, I had Andy on my short rest recently and asked him, and he said 1,475.
Well, then he lied.
He was lying.
And he doesn't know. The guy who organized it doesn't know the end number.
Nope.
I have footage. I have footage of him saying 1,700.
No, see, I thought he said 1,500. We're just making up numbers now.
We've just uncovered Andy's secret. He just makes up numbers whenever he's asked.
Mm-hmm.
He just comes
gives
up with
everybody
a
a different one.
It was a fuck ton. Let's leave it. It was a fuck ton of people.
Anything over 1,000 people playing the same game of Dungeons and Dragons at the same time is a lot of people.
Insanity.
14, 15, 17.
Rob, I have on my phone a video of you after the Dead Wars.
Is this blackmail? Should I turn off the stream?
No. Okay. Putting chairs away. You are such a awesome guy.
Yes.
After the event was done, there's a video I have of you off in the distance just taking chairs and folding them up alone, off in the distance, just folding chairs at the event because you're such an awesome guy. You're such an awesome guy.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I was blown. Like, I fell in love with you in that moment.
That was very kind of you.
From afar.
Yeah.
Fell in love from afar. Yeah, it was.
Yes,
It was
there
love
were
at first
birds.
sight. Me stacking chairs. Yeah, Tidy Kiwi. I was only doing it because I have a superpower to know when I'm being filmed. And so I just knew
is that what it was?
Yeah, and so I knew I was being filmed, and so I needed to look like I was being helpful,
being heroic. Yeah.
And that's why I was off in the distance. I was just slacking off and trying to get out of doing any real work.
What you don't know is that wasn't really Rob. That was his double.
Yeah,
right.
I got some stunt double to stack chairs.
Oh, that's funny.
No, I gotta help out. Like, Andy kept coming over, being like, you don't have to be here. And I was like, I know I don't have to be here. I don't have to be here at all. I choose to be here. You flew me out because I want to be here. No, but I mean, you don't need to be here and stack chairs and stuff. And I was like, are you going to be here stacking chairs till it's done? He's like,
you made me
stack
chairs. I was stacking chairs because you were stacking chairs.
and therefore, neither of us had to stack chairs as long as we would have if we'd been doing it individually.
That's true.
Yeah. It was a good time though. It was a good chance to meet you guys. So what's sort of present day work for you guys? What does your day to day look like for Dungeon Studios?
Let's see. Mike, go ahead. You could go ahead and start some.
Oh God. Okay. Well, I guess for me, it's wrangling a bunch of people who are involved in a story that we're currently working on, and then we have to not only because again, there is a process of there's an order of operations. You should appreciate that as a maths person.
Of course.
So there's a writer, and then the script writer converts it into a script. Amber has written stories that have been converted into scripts, and it's cool because we do meetings where those writers and then the script writer, they all attend the meeting of people trying to act out the characters from their story, and we're all trying to. We have this team of voice actors. They all try out for a character, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we switch off everyone that we have. Everyone tries out for different roles until we find the right voice. And then we go into rehearsals, and then those rehearsals go into recordings, and then we take a little bit of a break, and then we start all over again. And that's what Fables is. And it is it's a wrangling. It's just wrangling people.
Well, the voice actors they're all, oh my gosh, they're so much fun. I think that was one of my favoriteest things when I first joined the Discord channel was I started meeting the voice actors, and I don't know if it's inherent in just being an actor, but they are all so much fun. So when you get a room full of them, it's really hard to get them to stay on task sometimes, but they're so great.
Yeah, very much. I'm well aware of that sort of a thing. I have to do cat herding quite a lot as part of my job.
Yeah.
Josh probably has it worse because not only is he wrangling stuff from me, who is trying to handle all my stuff, he's dealing with Amber's stuff. He's dealing with the setting guys' stuff. He's dealing with the modules and all these other things. Josh has it worse than anybody.
So we'll end with Josh then. So Amber, what's your day-to-day Dungeon Studios related work look like?
Oh gosh, well, I think my day-to-day is mostly video editing. I do pretty much the video editing, a lot of it, 99% of it, for the game, for Nerd News, and then for just about anything else that goes on the YouTubes.
That must be time-consuming. Editing is not...
It is time-consuming because I also have my own channel that I'm trying to keep regular content on as well. So I'm kind of doing double duty there. Yeah, and then, then meetings.
What software do you use for your video editing?
I use Filmora. A mix of Canva and Filmora, depending on what I need. Yeah.
Nice. I used to use Filmora, but we switched to DaVinci. DaVinci Resolve.
I would love to, but I can't afford it right now.
Yeah, that is
DaVinci.
Entirely fair.
But that looks so good, DaVinci stuff.
And then Josh, what's your day-to-day look like?
I am constantly, like Mike said, I'm constantly in touch with the writers that are working on different projects. I'm constantly trying to source writers or artists, or like currently we're looking for animators. So I'm constantly putting out stuff for that. If we do get anybody that comes in, then that entails doing interviews and things like that. Also trying to hatch other projects. Is it entirely
online based? Like you don't have a physical studio in Nevada? Like, because I imagine with the three of you being so spread across the country, you probably have the rest of you all spread across as well.
That is correct. Yeah, it's all online. We do have the company is based out of Nevada, and we do have a business address here. It is my house.
You shouldn't have don't tell people that. They're gonna come try to find you.
I own 15% of your house, Josh.
But but it has its benefits being online. We get to tap into a lot of really cool and creative people by using that aspect. And that is truly part of the magic that makes this whole thing work. Like, I wouldn't be able to do any of this if it weren't for that aspect, really. Because good luck putting an ad out in the local paper and trying to get in somebody that's quality, you know what I mean, to come work on your project, But,
you know what else I love about that, Josh, is like especially since some of our people are, you know, in New Zealand, in Australia, wherever. Like I
Serbia.
feel like Serbia, it always feels like our doors are always open. Like if we're sleeping, they're sometimes working on
Yeah.
stuff, and then we wake up and they've got stuff for us, and so it's this kind of constant rotating doors
Yeah,
of work.
my deputy lives in Scotland and does most of my editing. so
Oh, really?
often I'm getting Slack messages when I wake up being like, oh, this thing's edited and is on the drive ready to go up onto Patreon, and this thing's ready to go on here, and we really should post about this thing. And then I'll do nothing during the day, and then she wakes up and has to deal with the fact that I've done nothing all day.
You know, Russell, Amber's co-host, DM'd you during an event in New Zealand.
Russell DM'd
Kirkby.
for me during the
DM'd for you.
Was he a vampire? Was it a vampire thing? At the...
Yeah, it was a vampire thing.
Yeah.
We have a picture of you. I'll send it to you. You know what? Send it to the screen. Send the picture to the screen.
Screen right now. There you go. We'll put that up.
Screen. We'll send that picture to you. Yeah, you'll have that picture. It's we actually just saw it.
It was for a Spookers event. It was the closest I've ever come to lapping. We went to Spookers, which is a place in South Auckland called that's like a Halloween themed. It's a haunted house event essentially, and they were putting on a special event at Spookers. With a Curse of Strahd-esque theme to it. There was a D&D theme, and you were split into various different groups, and obviously you could stick with your friends in your particular group, and you go around to various scenes, and they had lappers essentially dressed in these various different, like one of them was Renfield, and one of them was like the guy who's there to kill Dracula, and you can run these little scenes with them and stuff. I remember that event a lot. It was a hell of a lot of fun, and there was one of the events, one of the rooms, I guess, at this thing was like a puzzle room, not meant to be combat or role play. It was just like a puzzle. You went into this library room, and there was a guy that was dressed as like an old monk, and he goes, "I've been a ghost of this library for years," and blah blah blah. And he describes that you see before you a bunch of symbols, and he had little cards laid out in like a 4x4 grid. And each card had a symbol on it, which I later learned, none of us knew at the time, but we later learned through me telling this story on my Twitch channel, that it is an old monk system for writing dates. It was basically like a vertical line and then a series of other lines or dots around on either side of the thing, and it corresponds to various different dates. We didn't know that, just a bunch of symbols. And so he was hinting that maybe we should touch a book. So we touch one of the books, and he describes this this vision that this person has of like a city around you on fire, and then the person takes a bit of psychic damage and comes out of the vision. And then we're like, I don't know what that means. So we touch another one, and he describes being on a barren, rocky wasteland with nothing around, and then you find that you can't breathe because there's no atmosphere here, and then you take some damage and you come out of the vision. And we realized that he was touching the books that we touched were corresponding to stories based on a particular year, and therefore they must be years or something. And I went, oh, so the first one you touched was the Great Fire of London, 1666, and then the second one must be the moon landing in 1969. And then he touched another one, and it was quite clear. He got there was like a battle happening, and I was like, Battle of Hastings, 1066. And then after a few of these, the guy running it, the monk, just dropped character entirely and went, if I had inspiration in this sort of a game, I'd totally give you it, because this is blowing me away how much you know about the dates of the... Like, you just know the dates of these things? So I was like, yeah, I guess I'm a history buff. Yeah. I didn't even think of myself as a history buff at the time, but all of the ones that he touched was like, yeah, I know when that was. One of them was like a Chicago gangster, and I was like 1920s. And it was,
Wow.
from knowing 1066 and 1666, we managed to work out what the 6 in the second digit must be from the different clues, and then from there we could work out what the other 6s were, and then from there we pieced together the entire puzzle and got the answer and moved on. But yeah, that's one of the reasons I remember that particular event. Then we walked into the room with the final Dracula guy. and your friend Russell, and yeah, he did a good job of like trying to balance this awkward balance of like it's a tabletop game that we're running, so we've got like actual squares, but you're also encouraged to be like lapping the whole time up until this point. So I was walking around the room trying to be like lapping essentially, but he's like, no, you need to tell me where you are on the map as well. I was like, oh, okay, I need to be over here. Yeah, fun.
You had a fun robe on, a nice big old black robe on.
Did I? Oh yeah, we'd all me and all my friends had hired vampiric sort of costumes from a costume shop in Auckland.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, I should get Russell on my channel for a short rest sometime.
Absolutely.
Anyway, what were we talking about before all of that side tangent? Something about your friend Russell and his involvement in the game, maybe.
Yeah, he's Amber's co-host.
He's my co-host in the game and Nerd
Yeah.
News, yeah. But somehow I think what we were talking about Nerd News, and then
bunch of nerd stuff.
we were talking about what our dailies look like.
Tell me a little about what what is the one that you do?
Purdy nerdy.
Purdy Nerdy.
Purdy Nerdy.
Purdy Nerdy. So Purdy Nerdy is my attempt to share my crossover love of writing and D&D, and where that meets is world building.
Right.
And I love world building. So I really thought it would be kind of a niche within a niche, and if I create this channel that, if I create the right content, it'll pull maybe people from both sides. I'm still experimenting with my content a little bit because I'm finding that is not the case. Writers don't all love D&D stuff, and D&D people don't always want to hear about writing stuff. So really what works well on my channel right now is I create these mood music videos. I kind of called it lo-fi at first, but it's not lo-fi. So let's say like the latest video I did was Eldritch Horror. And so I have 4 hours of, music that fits that vibe.
Okay.
And then I also have, on the screen pictures of eldritch, beings, monsters. And then every 30 to 40 seconds or so, there's a world building prompt that pops up. So that with Eldritch Horrors. So if you're a writer, you can have a focused writing session. If you're a DM, you can maybe do some planning. If you're trying to build your character's backstory, you could use some of these prompts to kind of build that out. And that seems to be working really well on my channel.
That's really cool.
But I don't. Thank you. So I create a lot of these. I usually just dig into what I need next for my writing, so that I can also use it. And then I've put out I was doing interviews with DMs and writers talking about their world building processes, but I've learned that, after I think I've done maybe 6 to 10 of them, that a lot of them kind of have very similar processes. And so, those kind of feel like we're talking about the same thing. So I'm right now in the middle of restructuring some of my content and figuring out where I want to take this. Because I don't just want to make music videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So you're just kind of deciding what's going to work for you, not like trying to find that balance we were talking about earlier about like chasing the algorithm and what's actually going to be useful to people, and also what's worth doing, because you don't want to only make things that doesn't bring you any satisfaction just because the algorithm loves it. I know content creators who are very successful. I'm not going to name anybody, but yeah, people I've had on short rests, people I've met at Gen Con and stuff, who like they don't like the content that they make, but they keep making it because it's successful. And they're like, the algorithm loves it and I hate it. I hate that I have to keep doing this XYZ.
Well, and I find that a lot of the channels that I'm fighting against, they're just using so much AI and like regurgitating stuff, and I could go that route, but I'm trying to fight the good fight and not do that and still grow. So the other thing I've been doing is I've been trying to do a lot of convention panels. I really enjoy kind of coming from a perspective of teaching people how to play, teaching people how to DM. World building seems to be a struggle for people, like ideas. So I want to kind of outsource ideation and help people understand like easier ways of coming up with ideas
Right.
because maybe that doesn't come naturally to them. So I did my first panel in January, which was a complete fluke, but I was so excited to do it. And once I did that, I was hooked. And so I just went and applied for every convention in my area.
Yeah.
And I just did another one recently. I'm going to go to another one in September. And so it's starting to build. And I really enjoy that.
Do you guys ever go to the big ones like Gen Con, those sorts of ones, PAXs?
Not yet, but it's in the
not
plans.
Yeah.
Someday.
We want to
Yeah.
go.
Plan to Sunday.
We're just now dipping our feet into conventions and things like that. Actually, Dead Wars was one of our first ones, so it's
Well,
I'd
Luke,
love to see you around them.
we had Luke on our channel, and I would have loved. We were gonna, at least I would have gone to
Luke who?
Luke Gygax?
Gary Con, Luke Gygax. We had Luke Gygax on our channel, but
There you
I
go.
would have gone to Gary. He had Gary Con, and then there was Founders and Legends back to back. It was like a 10-day event, and I really wanted to go, but my son is a big band geek. And they were performing in Disneyland the same time, and I had
How
to
dare
be
he.
there because I'm apparently a good mom. So,
How
but
dare
next
he.
year I'm coming for you.
Nice. I was at GaryCon this year. It was my first
Yeah?
year at GaryCon as well. Yeah. I was able
Did
to
you run any games?
I run 3 games. Yeah, 3 games over the year. I wasn't at the Founders and Legends, but I was there at the GaryCon.
That's
And it was a lot of
awesome.
fun.
You gonna go again?
It's very different vibe, very different convention. Much more chill.
How is Gary?
How's Gary?
How's Gary?
He's doing as well as Salvador Dali.
Oh, very dead.
Yeah, very dead. It was very chill. It has a vibe of like a family reunion where you just kind of haven't seen members of your family for a while, and you're like, oh hey man, how you going? And you just kind of hang out and chill with people that you haven't seen in a while.
That sounds fantastic.
That's
That
awesome.
sounds way
It's
better than a
only-
convention.
Like, this year, GaryCon was the largest they've ever had it, and it was still only like 4,000 people, I think, somewhere around there. Whereas Gen Con's like 80,000. So yeah, much smaller vibe to it, and understandably because it's in the middle of nowhere. Like getting to like Geneva, Wisconsin. Is not
Yeah, that was the
easiest.
other thing, was it was going to be a lot of travel.
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun. I'm not sure that I'll go again next year, just because I'm kind of getting to the point where I don't know how much more sustainable I can make all of this travel. Like getting anywhere from New Zealand is expensive, and Gen Con in about 8 weeks' time will be the 3rd time this year that I've been to the States. So
wow.
it gets expensive. But I do love conventions. I love trying out new ones. I love going to ones that I haven't been to before. This will be my 2nd year at Gen Con, but it does feel like it's large enough that it can still be like a new one, a new experience each time, because you can just go to new parts of it. There's like 20,000 events on at Gen Con any particular year.
Wow.
I've not been to PAX East yet, or PAX Unplugged, and those are more that I want to go to as well. Dragon Con, there's a few of them.
Are there large conventions like closer to you? Are there any?
I go to one in Melbourne, Australia, that is PAX Australia, PAX Oz.
I'm in Melbourne.
That's a pretty good. What's that?
You're
I'm
not.
in Melbourne.
You're
I'm in Melbourne, Florida. Yeah.
You're in the wrong Melbourne.
The cool we all say it the same way, Melbourne, as it should be.
Not
Yeah,
Melbourne.
Melbourne. Exactly. No one says Melbourne. That's weird.
Melbourne.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think in Australia they call it like Melbourne, right? They kind of pronounce it like that, right?
Melbourne.
Yeah.
Melbourne, Australia
We gotta
has
get you-
PAX Oz, and it's a very good convention. I've been to a couple of years. This will be my 3rd year, and might be my last year for a while, just because, as I say, it's kind of gets. I don't like things when they get repetitive. I like new experiences. When I go traveling, I prefer to go places I haven't been, and when I go to a restaurant, I'd rather go somewhere I haven't been and eat food.
You should go on one of those gaming cruises.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'm definitely. I've looked at gaming cruises before. There's actually a travel company that's been in touch with me that's still waiting on my reply at the moment. That wants to set up like a Dungeons and Dragons themed trip, like an all expenses included thing, where the fans essentially pay one amount, and then they come on a trip with me for like 10 days, and we go wherever we go.
Yeah.
Play D&D each
Gotta
day.
get you.
Do
Gotta
that.
get you a Cuban sandwich when you come to Orlando. You gotta have the best Cuban sandwich you've ever had.
Do they have termites in them?
What? No,
No?
they don't.
Okay. I just wondered if there
no,
was
Not
like
the
they
a
best
have
ones.
normal.
thing.
It's normal
Just
human
that's
food.
Maybe by then Mike will have found the perfect wing as well.
Nope,
maybe.
impossible. It's dead. It's a lost cause. Leave me behind. The perfect wing is dead.
What about if you go to the people who owned the perfect wing place and you just ask them for like a recipe or something?
Oh my god!
Blew your mind that those people still exist, even if the business is down.
I should go to that old man and ask him for his wing recipe.
I mean, if it's not exactly like he has to worry about a competing.
Time is
business opening
limited.
up.
I have limited time. I gotta do it.
Yeah, if he's closed down, he's not producing the wings anymore, so he's not worried about. Unless he's like, no, secret dies with me. I will.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure they do. I'd
Beg
do
him to
that.
pass on the knowledge of the perfect wing, you know?
Yeah.
It might be
like
worth it to you
Confucius,
to
like
buy the recipe from him, though, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
I
then
don't
you're not
have that kind of
spending
money,
your money on
Amber.
crap. But
I don't have that
instead
kind
of
of money.
spending your money
$72
on
for that
crappy
recipe.
wings,
Yeah, I'm gonna start bidding right now. I have 700,000. I have $7,000. I'll give you for the wing recipe, so I can make it for the rest of my life.
If
Exactly.
I wish I could do
closed down, he might be interested in any amount of, like, just saying, just get in touch with him and be like, hey, what was your recipe? What made them so good? And he'll be like,
then Dungeon
"It's a
Studios
little
can
bit
get
of love.
into like
I just make them
wings.
with love."
It's my little secret.
No, but then we can start a
Me and my
D&D wing
pharmacist.
company, and we can have like beholder wings and whatever. What wings were we having earlier? when we
Weird
were-
choice.
No.
Weird first choice for a wing, Amber. The one the one notoriously limbless creature.
Well, I mean, they don't have to be wings. Maybe they're eyeballs.
purple worm
They're eye
wings.
Yeah, purple worm wings. Yeah, I stalk wings.
Hmm.
All right, we're gonna have to take a tangent here. What D&D creature would make the best wings?
Cockatrice.
Well, yeah, I'm
skip.
tempted
Yeah.
to go with the cockatrice.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
the cockatrice? I mean, yes, they're chicken-esque, but they'd be rock-like. They'd be rock hard. They'd be like.
Oh, well.
Only if you look at it, Rob. Only if you look at it.
Well,
know
so
the cockatrice
baby
doesn't
Eat 'em with a
cockatrice,
blindfold.
you got to get them while they're young.
Yeah.
That sounds horrible.
How about like owlbears?
Little owlbear wings.
Ooh.
Owlbear.
They could be pretty meaty.
Big meaty ones, right?
Yeah.
It's like Ren
Oh.
Fair. style.
Yeah. Let's say like harpies. Harpies have big wings.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I
they'd
feel like they
probably
would be
make-
stringy.
Too stringy.
Yeah.
We got Pegasus.
And there's like
Pegasus have wings.
Yep, Pegasus.
I
Yeah.
feel like
Oh,
you'd
yeah.
be cursed if
It's
you
a
ate
horse
Pegasus
with
wings
wings.
because you're basically it's the same thing about like killing
Like a
unicorns.
unicorn.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah, you're basically
Pegasus.
converting Pegasus into unicorns by making wings out of them.
Yeah, basically that's how unicorns are
Is
made.
that how they're made? Yeah.
No, wait. I have a daughter. It's an alicorn. Alicorns are the ones that have horns and wings.
Yeah, you got to take a
Pegasus
alicorn.
are just wings.
Just
Unicorns are just horns.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness,
I know.
Mike.
I've got a photo on my phone from like recently of me playing a Pegasus in a green screen for the Viva La Dirt League guys, and they put me in a very tight white one suit that basically outlined everything. And then pink like hoof things that they put on here, and then a white balaclava that had stitched a mane onto it, and then giant like fairy wings that they'd got from a $2 store. It was hilariously
You were
budgeted.
saying you had
amazing.
like rainbow
Dedication.
armpit hair, and I was like, oh no, don't say that.
It's dedication.
The what was the other winged? The Tressims, the winged cats. They'd
Oh,
they'd
those
a more
would be
manageable
tasty.
size. for the
Yeah.
wings.
Oh, what if
Yeah.
we
The
just go
problem
with
with
Eric,
the Pegasus
Eric
wings as well
Coker?
is that they're too big. Like that's like the challenge that is given at a wing restaurant. I'm definitely going to include this in one of my world building now. By the way, they're going to go
Mimics.
to a restaurant.
Mm.
They're going to go to a barbecue
Mimics.
restaurant in a city or something, and there's going to be wings and wings,
Yes.
and then on the thing is like challenge wing. If you can finish this wing in an hour, you get it for free, whatever, and blah blah blah. You get your name on the wall, and then they bring
What about
out
rocks?
the Pegasus wing. A rock,
Rocks.
the wing
Yes.
from a rock. And
Yes.
then that's like ultra challenge, and it must be done in a team of 10. Like you must have at least 10 people in order to even take on the ultra challenge. And then
I mean,
you
would
bring out-
giants be allowed to
saying
eat
mimics.
You're going with mimics?
I'm going with mimics because they can be reproduced on a mass scale, right? So you have the mimic, right? Well, no, you don't reproduce the mimics, but what you do is you chop off the parts of the mimics that produce the wings, and then you make the mimic convert to another thing, and then back to the thing with wings, chop off the wings, and then you go back and forth.
Like in my games, I wouldn't rule it that's like you chop off if a mimic turns into a chicken and you chop off its wing, the wing turns back into sludge, mimic sludge.
Well, you know what? You just gotta sell it fast enough.
Well,
you got
in like
at
the
the table. Hack it off. Eat it quick.
You just gotta sell it fast enough, and then it's money.
It's self-saucing.
Printing
at
money.
That point. It's self-saucing. You shake the thing off.
It's
and
a sticky wing.
It gets all your sticky.
Yep.
Yeah, you get sticky all of your fingers from the mimic. And it's got
That's
that
what I'm trying
like,
to find. I'm trying to find
that pineapple like
type
taste
of
of like it's eating you as
that
you're eating
type
it.
of wing.
It's got acid.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, wait, though. I need to know, for the rock wing, would giants be allowed to participate in this challenge?
So the Ultra Challenge says must have at least 10 people, brackets, or one giant.
Okay, there we go.
because I reckon a rock wing's still a challenge for a giant. Like, you walk in as a fire giant. It's because rock wings are like 200-foot wingspan or something. So it's like a 100-foot wing. That's a big wing.
I'll take 2.
And somebody
in
chat
100
saying
foot,
Phoenix...
150 each, 50 feet a wing.
No, I think
you're
it's
saying
200-foot wingspan because
it's like, a 200-foot.
Yeah, rocks 200-foot wingspan, like 100-foot per wing ish.
Is that legit? Is that legit?
They're legitimately
they're
enormous
big,
creatures.
Yeah.
They're huge. They're big. They're bigger than huge. They're bigger than colossal. They're like massive.
Oh my god.
How would you even cook that?
Yeah, I don't know. How would you cook it? You'd have to get like a volcano. You'd have to use like a specialized fire giant oven or something.
Yeah.
Nope.
No?
All you need is 75 people on a beach. That's all you need. That's all you need, and then enough dry wood in order to make that thing happen. So
just fire.
I can't wait till you come to Florida.
Big old wing, flip it
Yep.
over. How are they
Or
flipping?
some kind of like a...
That's right.
Is there like a crane situation? Have you got to have like telekinesis and like have a bunch of people casting?
Just use
telekinesis?
another bigger animal to
just
flip your wing.
Human willpower, and we will make it happen.
How is that
Absolutely.
getting to the? How is it getting cooked on the inside though? The heat has got so much meat to travel through to cook the whole thing.
Okay, aluminum foil was invented for a reason. Okay.
I cast aluminum foil at 8th level to cover the whole. Just cover it up without even trying. Yeah, and then you've got your fire giant buddy who can clean.
You need like a geothermal cavern, right? And then it gets all the heat can't escape.
I feel like there's something you can like roast it on a spit or something, and then have something that's set up to rotate it. What's your favorite wings though? Is it like buffalo wings? Is it like hot sauce? What do we?
It's hot. The hottest you can make it. Give me
what is the
spiciest.
spiciest? Because somebody in chat said, would a phoenix wing be spicy? Or would it be a really hot temperature?
Yeah. I'll eat it and then it turns to ash in my stomach. Oh yeah, that's perfect. And then it grows into a new phoenix inside of me and bursts out. That's the spiciest wing anyone's ever thought of.
You got Dungeons and Dragons equivalent of the Aliens scene, but with a phoenix pecking its way out of your sternum. That's
it's just
nasty.
you eat one wing and then that happens. You're like, I have 12 more of these.
And then
gotta finish.
And then when it escapes out of your stomach, it cauterizes the wound. You're fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, Phoenix. I mean, the Phoenix are crying during the whole ordeal, and Phoenix tears cure all ailments. So they're healing you as they dive out of your esophagus.
Phoenix wings, the new Taco Bell. Yeah.
It burns when it comes in and out.
Oh, I shouldn't have eaten them Phoenix.
Oh God. Oh yeah. And oh God.
Anyway, so I'm glad we got to the bottom of that. That's important. Let's talk future of Dungeon Studios, so we know where you're heading with. But I just want to remind people before we get into this, if you have questions for me or any of the guys here, any of the people from Dungeon Studios, you can ask your questions by redeeming the copper pieces right below where you say type a message. You can see some copper pieces. If you've been watching the stream so far, you've probably accrued at least 50 of them, because you accrue them pretty passively just by watching. And then you can use those to ask a $50 copper piece question. That means it goes into a redemptions queue, and that way it doesn't get lost among all of the rest of the chatter. And it means
why'd you make it so complicated?
It's really not.
It's very
not
complicated
at all. You earn copper pieces passively, and a lot of people don't use them. So this is a way for you to use them.
I earn any copper pieces?
If you're watching my stream, if you've got my stream turned on right now, you have copper pieces accruing.
Dude, I didn't know that there was such a thing as copper pieces, and now
it's a Twitch thing. It's an encouragement to tune in and
use
watch
them
people's
up.
streams. So, for instance,
my
largest copper piece redemption is for 900,000 copper pieces, which takes people several years of watching me to accrue. But lots of people have accrued it, and for that amount of money, they can play a game with me. I'll run them a Dungeons and Dragons game for free.
That's cool.
Them and up to 4 or 5 of their friends, whatever, and can have a game. For 200,000, they can have my autograph. For 80,000, they can choose one of the episodes of Evil the Dirt League, and we'll do a watch party of it, and I'll talk about how it went down. For 35,000, they can add things to my homebrew world, and I'll include them in some way, and so on and so on.
And for zero, they can steal your podcast.
For 0 pieces, they can steal my podcast tomorrow.
Tomorrow, that's right.
More on that.
Oh,
later.
really?
Yeah, they're gonna be maybe at a risk of somebody coming in and stealing my podcast tomorrow. Let's talk immediate future. So we'll talk blue sky stuff later, but like in the immediate future, what are you working on that is coming out soon, or that you can talk about?
All right. So in the immediate future, that's coming out is the rest of Fables. That's currently in its process of being released, and the next thing that'll probably be coming out for us is our settings book. We're shooting for the end of the year, but it may come a little bit sooner. So that's kind of what we have going in the immediate. I kind of gave you a sneak peek on some of the longer term projects that if they do prove to be doable, those will be coming into the pipeline as well. So that's kind of what we have with the immediate, and then of course
for any of the other things too. Like, what's going on with the game? Is the game still running? The podcast?
The game is still running. We've been kind of alternating releases where if there's news, then we do nerd news. But if there's no news, then we'll do the game. So we kind of alternate releases.
And what about the Fables? The season 2 of coming, you say?
They're bi-weekly. Right now we are on episode 5. So now, if you check out and
bi-weekly is one of the most useless words
every other week,
because it means both every two weeks and twice a week. And so every time you use bi-weekly, you need to then
every 2 weeks.
It's such a stupid word. Every 2 weeks. So, they are fortnightly.
So every fortnight you can catch an episode of Fables.
I don't think that's right. Isn't a fortnight 20 days?
Studios. I think a fortnight is
14 days, Josh. It's 2 weeks. That's what a fortnight is. And so you can catch an episode of Fables. If you go to Dungeon Studios on YouTube, you can subscribe to there and witness we were on Spotify. Hey, we're on Apple now. We are on Apple and all the other podcatchers. Just, hey, look at Fables from the Forgotten Dungeon Studios. And every 2 weeks, there's going to be an episode. And right now, we're about halfway through the season. So catch up so that way you can listen to the rest of it.
As I say, I watched them on YouTube.
What'd you think of Gurgle Plop, Rob?
Just really about to ask about Gurgle Plop.
I really enjoyed the whole sort of story, and it was a very Black Mirror-esque ending.
Yeah.
I won't say anything that spoils it, but yeah, very.
Thank
Black
you.
Mirror.
Gurgle Plop is the one I love sharing.
I had to look up a lot of sound effects to make that happen.
Right, that's the one. The sound effects. There's this one section that the sound is just so delightfully grotesque.
Mm.
And that's how I hook people. I tell them, if nothing else, if you don't even want to listen to 20 minutes or 30 minutes of an audio drama, skip ahead to this little like 5-minute section and just listen to the sounds, and that gets them hooked because they're just so grossed out. They got to find out what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm Goliath also, Rob. If you didn't know that.
I listened to the credits at the end where it says who you are. Yes.
Oh, okay. That's a me.
It's a me, a Mario. I do voice acting myself. That's actually one of the panels I'm doing at Gen Con this year. I'm doing a panel called Finding Your Voice, using voice acting techniques to help develop voices for your D&D characters. And I'm going to be, helping people with understanding. Like, you don't need to do an accent to be doing a voice. There's a lot more to a voice than just an accent and stuff like this. And I've got a whole panel where I talk about it and things.
Cadence.
Yeah. Do you ever want to do a
tone,
guest
the
spot?
laryngeal height and things. But what a crazy coincidence that you should bring that up, and just in relation to me talking about how I'm a voice actor. I would love to. Yes. That would be fantastic to do a little guest spot on Fables. If something comes up.
Oh, yeah.
If something comes up, if a character comes up, I'd love to voice a character.
We'll write it, bitch. I'll write it right now. I'll write it.
One of the writers.
Michael just drops out of the call right now to go and write something. Yeah, man, I'd love to. I love voice acting work.
That's
what about the other projects that you're working on? So if that's the future of Fables. How about for your Amber, for your Pry Nerdy? You got any things in the pipeline that you're working on?
Well, yeah, so I can't remember if I mentioned, but yeah, I'm leaving this week for a writer's retreat. And once I get back from that, I actually have a project that I'm going to be putting out. I guess I'll officially announce it because that will force me to do it. But again, going from the tact of education, one of the things that I wish I had when I was learning to DM, you go online and people just kind of give you little quick comments that they tell you how to DM, or you can watch live play and try to dissect what the DM's doing, and that's how you learn. And I've seen other videos where they're pretty much reading the book at you. What I wanted to see a live play. And then I wanted at the end of the live play, I want the DM to go back and go, okay, do you remember that spot where they did this? Yeah. That threw me for a loop. I didn't plan for that. Here's how I make up for it. Or, they were about to have a TPK. I didn't want that to happen. Here's what I did to avoid that. I want the behind the screens with the little clips of the live play so you can hear really what's happening in the DM's brain. And so I actually have it's not going to be live. I'm going to record my online play sessions with this group and then record a behind the scenes kind of DM commentary at the end. Oh. And that's I'm really looking forward to that project. So right now I'm going to call it DM Origins. And I'm hopefully going to start recording that when I get back from my writer's retreat.
A very good idea. I have a 2 streams a week that I do exactly that. It's called Behind the Screen.
Oh, really?
It's called Behind the Screen, yeah. And I do a watch party of the latest Viva La Dirt League D&D episodes that I'm running. And now it's twice a week because I'm doing 2 different campaigns for them. We watch the latest episode and I pause and start and talk about, in this moment here, this is why we cut here, or this is the roll that happened here, or whatever. This is what could have happened if they hadn't done this. Or some people are asking like, hey, you rolled on a table of wild magic that could have happened. Can we hear about what the other stuff was? And bring up my notes and I'm like, yeah, this is what could have happened. Or this is what I expected to happen and they completely threw me for the loop. Or
I think that is going to be so helpful to people who are learning,
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's a good stream.
Yeah.
It's one of my more popular streams. Let's talk actually no. Before we move on from immediate future, Michael, what about your Michael and Jeremy Steal Your podcast? What's in the immediate future of that?
Actually, if you've heard of John Breaks Bad News,
no.
There's a guy who exists. His whole job is to break bad news to people. So people pay him on Twitch and all these other things. And so the people will submit bad news, and then he just calls these people and delivers said bad news. So I just got in touch with him, and we're gonna be stealing his podcast. So that's pretty hilarious. I'm also I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to infiltrate this podcast because it smells real good, Rob.
Oh yeah.
This podcast
Yeah,
smells
you're a fan of
real
Shortlist,
good from the
I
inside.
know. I've given you insider knowledge. You've cased the joint.
Now that I'm here, I feel at home,
Oh,
and
no.
I feel like I
What have
need
I
to
done?
steal this podcast.
Well, good luck. Good luck.
All right, fair enough.
And then
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow morning. So future wise, like long distance future, we're talking like blue sky. If things got out of your way and everything stars aligned, where would you hope Dungeon Studios to be in the future? Where do you want to be? What's your vision?
So the ultimate vision for Dungeon Studios is, we would like to, essentially be able to have our own studio somewhere,
A physical location.
a physical
Yeah.
location where we could make our content together if we needed to or wanted to.
And then comes the fights of where it should be. California, no. Florida, no. Nevada.
Kansas.
Kansas, yeah, meet in the middle.
Yep.
But yeah, we want to be able to make more content, and make sure that, we're able to get it out there and kind of just build up on our projects, build up on the different things that we work on, and just keep the ball rolling. We tend to be building momentum constantly. So, that's the goal, is to,
Awesome.
make our
Yeah,
make our own
continue making
content.
stuff you enjoy, get to a point where it's paying the bills and paying for itself and everything, and self-sustaining, so that you can be like, okay, more of that. Well, the last thing paid for the next thing. Yeah.
Can I retract
awesome.
my vote for Kansas and let's do it in Hawaii?
Hawaii.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
Hawaii's,
nice. Yeah.
Hawaii's much closer to New Zealand, so I also vote for that one.
Yes, there we go.
Then you can come over to New Zealand. We can do collabs and stuff.
Can I say my 2 cents?
No.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, so I'm going to open the requests queue.
I don't think that we could go wrong with meeting more people that like to make stuff. I have that same philosophy for my own podcast, but for Dungeon Studios, meeting Josh was one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me, because it opened up the opportunity for me to be ultimately super creative and meet more people who are super creative and bring more people in who want to express themselves and make something together. That's it. That's why I show up every day, is to meet
Yeah.
with a bunch of people that want to make some shit.
Hell yeah.
That's all I care about. And if
love
something happens, something's gonna happen.
I love it. All right. Before we run out of time entirely, let's start getting to the questions that have been asked from chat over the time. An hour ago, Wraith, one of my mods, who incidentally is my podcast editor. Thank you for that, Wraith. You'll be having to edit this into a podcast
So
form later.
fancy. Yeah.
Michael will be the one stealing your job from you.
Yep.
Wraith asks, best advice you can give to your younger selves: winning lottery numbers don't count.
You're doing great. Keep it up. I love you.
Yeah. I would say that you can make money from creative endeavors, and I wish I'd started a lot earlier.
Nice.
I would tell myself to not to give up and to just to keep trying, keep building.
I think I would have just told myself who I was earlier, so that I didn't have to spend as long working it out. I'd been like, oh, this is who you are, this is the way this is why you feel this way, and you're not broken because of this and this and this, and you're just different.
Right.
And I'd be like, also get checked for ADHD, because that would have saved me a lot
You're
of
a
time.
butcher. You're a butcher. You were always a butcher. You'll always be a butcher.
Speaking of ADHD, I know you're short on time. I'll make it super quick. But I watched your short rest with D&D Shorts.
Oh, yeah.
You guys were talking about ADHD.
That was great.
So I don't know if you do this, but my husband, he truly believes that he has ADHD. And he started going down this rabbit hole of like Instagram reels and those quick short videos with ADHD stuff. And in the last couple years, it has really helped him find the language to express when things are frustrating, and it also has given him tools to like work. He's on this weird like self-discovery journey, and these short reels, go figure, is the thing that's really helping him with ADHD. So I wanted to mention it to you.
For sure. It's definitely one of the reasons why I'm like, oh yeah, definitely need to get assessed, because suddenly all of the reels that the algorithm's like, hey, you like this, you responded to this, you this thing resonated with you, have more of this, and then you're like, why is it showing me so many?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and the other thing that he does is he'll send me reels, and they're like just funny things about ADHD, but it explains to me when this happens, this is what's going on.
This is.
Yeah.
I saw one that
really
was
great.
like hugely altering for like genuinely like my day-to-day stuff, where it was a couple. They do fantastic videos for ADHD. She's got ADHD, he hasn't, and they do videos about it. And one of them was him going, we need to be leaving in 10 minutes, and she's like, yeah, okay, and then he does the same scenario, but he goes, we need to be leaving in 600 seconds, and she goes, what? Oh my god, let's go, I need to put my clothes on, I need to put my shoes on. And he's like, it's such a like, you say 10 minutes, I've got time for a shower, you say 600 seconds, I'm like, that's no time. It's that time blindness that is a huge thing with ADHD. Like it's we see and experience time completely differently.
Yeah. So I guess you've already discovered that tip, but
yeah, for sure.
For anybody else who hasn't,
I've been off my medication for 8 years.
Oh wow.
ADHD?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Just any reason?
Oh, because I didn't like it. So
fair enough. And you found that for yourself, and you're like, nah, I'd rather be who I am without.
There's a lot of side effects with those. Okay, so if anyone's ever taken Ritalin, and then they're like, oh, I'm really excited about it. If you have ADHD and you take Ritalin, it turns you into a zombie. So
interesting.
So
yeah, there's a lot of them. That's why there's so many of them. There's Adderall and Ritalin and all the others as well, like the ones that they use in Australia. I can't remember the name of them. But yeah, there's a million of them, and that's why it's part of the process to be like, let's try you on different ones to see if they.
It's all part of the brain. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Race asks, weirdest thing you've ever eaten? Termites don't count. I've tried chocolate before. I've eaten
chocolate sauce on chimichangas.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
I did that.
I don't know if this counts. I'm Filipino, so a lot of what I eat is considered weird. Have you heard of balut? Balut. It's a duck embryo. It's a fertilized duck embryo egg. Yeah. So I mean, I haven't eaten it in a long time, but I ate it as a child. I remember it. It does look very disturbing, but it was very yummy.
I don't want anything that I'm eating to have the word fertilized as an adjective.
Josh, you're up.
What have you eaten, Josh? Yeah, muted, I think.
We can't hear you.
All right, so we're talking about like the weirdest.
Oh, yeah.
Weirdest.
Okay. Damn. I would say a rattlesnake.
You ate a rattlesnake?
I did, dude.
Well.
I did.
Rattle
I
first.
did. Well, no, it was barbecued. And my grandfather had killed it, and I remember.
Is this like in your backyard or something?
It was, yeah. Well, he had like this big like pasture area, and it was in the pasture, and
wow.
I remember him putting his boot on it, and he like cut off the head of it, and it was bouncing around like, still trying to bite, you know, and yeah, he skinned that rattlesnake and barbecued it.
This is
why
it's important to know the difference between venomous and poisonous.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Venomous, they bite. Poisonous, you ingest.
Mm-hmm.
You know that from living in Florida.
I know that from teaching at a zoo for several years.
Oh.
And talking about the differences between venomous and poisonous spiders.
Nerd.
Nerd. That's me. Weirdest thing I've ever eaten. I don't know that I've eaten that many things. I've eaten bugs in amber before, and like I've sampled like crickets and stuff. I've eaten those, and mealworms I think I've eaten.
Now we know why he told you to eat the termite.
Yeah, just peer pressure, just for the fun of it, shits and giggles. Try and drive more
I mean,
people
why
from the
not,
podcast
right?
to my YouTube, maybe. I don't know.
When in New Zealand, right?
When in New Zealand, eat the bugs. We don't actually have that many bugs here. You're gonna go to Australia for that shit. Wraith again asks, which of the gods from your own world would you be if you could be any of them, and are they eternal or supreme?
Oh, I already know.
I'm actually a god on the roster
Yeah,
there.
you're
You play Saren. You play Saren. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I play a god named Saren Copperneck.
Yeah.
He's like a pirate god.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How about
I
you
would
two?
totally be Aerith. I would be a goddess of justice. Sorry, not justice. Vengeance. Why did I say justice?
Interesting.
Vengeance for sure.
Goddess of vengeance. Michael, what's your god?
And I would probably be Goliath, who is not entirely a god, but he is a demon weird cat thing.
With no soul.
Right.
What would he be?
But
the
I
god,
do love.
if he was to ascend to like actual godhood, what would he be the god of?
Oh goodness. Anti-boredom.
Laziness.
God of doing stuff.
Wait, but
God of interesting.
Mike, but how does he teleport from place to place?
A whoosh.
It's a little inside joke in our voice actors meetings. Whenever he teleports in the script, we have to do this sound bit.
A whoosh.
That's very funny. Matt asks, best use of a common or mundane magic item in an unexpected way. For instance, a bag of holding, facing a lich with a sphere of annihilation, catch the sphere in the bag of holding, and then forces yourself and the lich into another plane of existence. That is a very specific example from something I did in a game once.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good, dude. Damn.
I was facing off against a Serarak, and I was on my own because we were in the stomach of a what do they call them, dreadnought. And the Serarak had a sphere of annihilation, and he was tied to the throne that he was on with all this other power coming to him and stuff, so he's even more buffed up than a Serarak, and I was like a level 12 kobold artificer, and I had nothing else.
Wow.
But I did have like a 24 intelligence for various reasons, and I was like, okay, I've got contingencies, I've got plans upon plans upon plans. So I tried to, because knowing I was intelligent, I grabbed the sphere of annihilation and forced it towards a Serarak, trying to make him fail his save, but he made his save, obviously. So then I was like, I continued it on that path, trying to tear up the throne that he was sitting on, because anything that touches the sphere gets annihilated. I missed the throne as well, but I was like, don't worry, I've got a second backup as well, so I continued the sphere in the same direction as it went, and I grabbed it in a bag of holding, knowing that anything extra dimensional going into an extra dimensional space ends up, shit goes wrong, and it basically exploded me and a Serarak onto the plane of vacuum. Where I had enough breath in my lungs to cast one more spell. I cast the spell Wish, which I'd been holding on for various reasons, and used the Wish spell to replicate the 8th level spell Plane Shift, and took myself back to the real plane of existence and left.
That's clutch.
I got a good one. It's really simple, and it doesn't take as long as Rob explained his. You're playing a rogue and you're arguing with your barbarian, and you have a immovable rod, and you're like, if you think you're so strong, grab this rod from me.
Yeah, that's pretty fun. Especially if the other player gets involved on board with it. It's like, nah, it's fine.
Oh, it was so good.
Even better if the barbarian is like raging and gets advantage on athletics and has like a plus 18 and actually moves the rod.
Oh yeah,
you can move an immovable rod if you.
Well,
beat, like,
no,
a DC
not if they're
30,
level 6. Not if they're level 6.
No,
I think one of my favorite experiences. Oh, sorry, were you talking, Josh?
No, go for it.
Sorry. One of my favorite experiences in the game that I play in.
Nobody cares, Michael. Shut up.
We have a turtle monk / ranger.
Nice.
He's very innocent, and the rest of our group, and we were kind of in this area where it was kind of a shady taverny area with alleys, and he noticed, out of all of us, he noticed that there were bandits kind of hiding in the alleys that were kind of sneaking up behind us, and he was the only one that noticed. So he strikes up a conversation with our bard, and he's like, you know what I really hate about da 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 da. We had no idea what he's about to do. All we know, metagaming, is that we're about to be jumped on by bandits. and we're like, why is he trying to strike up a conversation? And he's just talking about mundane things. And then all of a sudden he says, and I pull out my wand of magic missiles and I just like, I start pointing at things like, I really hate about this and this. And then I point the wand of missiles behind my back and just shoot all the bandits. And literally the way that he rolled, I think he killed, I can't remember exactly, but I think he killed all the bandits, like just there
awesome.
without us even knowing what was happening.
I thought you were gonna go with I thought it was gonna be like he was saying he was like bluffing to the bard, like I really hate it when we killed that beholder, and then we tried to sell the teeth and like tried to make up stories about like being way too big for the bandits to take on. But that's even better. I thought it was going to be, I thought you were going to say like, oh yeah, he doesn't tell us that there's bandits coming. He just like makes it loudly known. The time that we killed that red dragon and then we sold its teeth to that guy, but he like dicked us over, so we killed him and we fed his family to the werewolves. And remember that we should visit those werewolves again. I really miss. Like, just
we
that
should,
sort of
they're best buddies.
Josh, any mundane item usage that ended up being really overpowered?
So I don't really get to play very often, but when I do play, I do like to do a lot of things like that. So I kind of find myself constantly collecting things.
Nice.
So I could make like, I like making sure like I have like string, so I could make like caltrops or something if I need to, or
I do that with my characters too. Like make sure you've got like chalk and stuff that doesn't cost you anything, but it's like have it on your person because then you can come up with unique fun ways to use it. But bag of ball bearings, they're always useful.
I love the ball bearings. Yeah, that's actually where I was gonna go to. Is I always like to have a bag of ball bearings, because those things are always useful.
Hell yeah, you can have all sorts of fun with those stuffs.
Yeah, and I implore my players to use a lot of that stuff, and
be creative
sometimes
with the usage of your stuff.
Yeah.
Matt asks, creating content feels a lot like balancing technology and art at the same time. The technology part's where you build the existing tools and systems to make a balanced feel, i.e. fair or logical, yet for your art, you want the players and viewers to have an emotional reaction to the story content. How would you balance your resources to do both? How do you balance the art and the technology?
So, wow. So
how do you have balance and logic and fairness while also having emotional reactions and things? I think that's not an either or really for me, because I think you get in more of an emotional reaction if there is stakes, and there's only really stakes if it does feel like it's fair and balanced.
Can you read? Because I'm trying to understand the question. Are we talking about in the context of a game?
Just in the context of creating content in general.
Okay.
Matt is defining technology as being like the building of the existing tools and the systems, making anything feel balanced. And then the art is your players and viewers having an emotional reaction to the story content. The story.
See, I feel like when it comes to technology and becoming a content creator, I feel like that just... it comes with time, right? When you're just starting out, you don't even know how to use all the technology. So you just grab what you can understand quickly, and then eventually you can start improving things. And maybe with each content that you create, there's one little piece of improvement, or now you've upgraded your technology, or now you've added this thing. So technology just comes with time, I think. I don't know about a balance, but I think when it comes to the emotional aspect, you can do that from the get-go. If you understand how to craft a story, if you understand how to pull on, emotional strings, you can do that from the beginning. And I don't think technology necessarily needs to come into play. I don't know. Yeah. And then I think eventually, once you find yourself, you have enough technology and you've figured out how to pull the emotional strings, you can keep it in balance. If that makes any sense. Oh, is it? It looks dark. Did somebody tell you it was dark?
No, I just realised that it was starting to get a bit dark in my room around me now. I need to flick the light on. Race asks, Rob, this one's just for you. Do you have my new couch? And when are you inviting me over to play Mario Kart? I had a dog for a long time here, but my fiance and I broke up last year, and we decided after a few more months it was like, man, this is really difficult. Like the dog was a lot of work. It was a big dog and a puppy, and we were like, we had to be honest and say we can't look after him. Like either one of us can't look after him on our own. And so we
I'm sorry, man.
It is sad, but it happens. And we found a new home for him, and he moved out. But it meant that I finally got a chance to be like, all right, this dog-eaten couch that I've been living with for the last year, I can finally get rid of it and get a new couch.
Yeah.
So I got a couch over King's birthday weekend, just gone, like some sales. And I also, at the same time, was like, you know what? I've been working so hard, and like I've been talking about like how I've not had a day off in years, and I should get myself a Nintendo Switch and like play some games. I've not had a games console since I was a child, and like I was all nostalgic for like N64, and I was like, I really want to play some N64 games. I'm feeling like the nostalgic hankering for that. And then somebody on stream told me, you can play the N64 games on a Nintendo Switch, and I was like, all right, fucking let's sold. Let's do it. And I bought myself a Switch, and ever since, my mod Wraith has been saying, invite me over. I want to play Mario Kart. Someday, Wraith, when you get up to date on my podcasts, god damn it, get back to work.
Mario's for nerds.
Mario
That's
is for
what
nerds.
we are.
That's why I love it. That's
Legend of Zelda's better.
One of my favorite things to do one of my favorite go-to insults is to call somebody nerds, knowing that I've got a maths degree and a Dungeons and Dragons degree. Basically, I've got an acting degree. I do Dungeons and Dragons for a living.
Yeah.
Like,
I used to
nerd.
check out math textbooks from the library during the summer for fun.
What a nerd.
Yeah. Maths textbooks. I can't say that.
Speaking of maths, my friend Dave, who's not at all trolling, asks, Rob, you don't have to answer this now, but how large of a bet would I need to make on a trifecta horse race in 1950 to make $1 million? I will answer that later.
Are you already doing it in your head?
Yeah, basically. I wouldn't know where to begin. That's not enough knowledge for me. I'd have to look up.
You don't know what you
odds.
don't know what the up on it on a horse from 1950 is?
1950 is? No, I don't. Crazily. I'm gonna answer Dave. 12. 12 is the answer.
Oh,
12.
there you go.
No
Boom.
No units needed. All right, last question that came from Cinderfingers. The 2024 Paris Olympics are coming up. What Olympic sport would your favorite D&D character slay at? Not even a character you have to play, like your favorite character.
Wait. Are they summer or winter? They're winter?
Winter Paris Olympics coming up, which must mean Summer Olympics.
The Paralympics, like the handicap Olympics?
Paris.
Paris.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can answer the Paralympics if you want.
The Paralympics?
If your favorite D&D character is disabled in some way, then yeah, maybe they'd be at the Paralympics.
Mike's thinking. Mike's
question
thinking,
is, who's my D&D question? Who's my favorite D&D character? I mean, I'm very self-centered, so it'd have to be one of my own, surely.
Surely.
I played a wizard, a very intelligent wizard for the Dragonlance campaign that I was in last year for a full year running. It's the longest campaign I've ever been in, and the only one that's ever actually run to completion.
Wow.
They were not physically fit at all. So much so that they became a lich at the very end of the campaign. They just withered away to the point of obsessing about magic so much that they turned themselves into a lich.
Phylactery.
Yeah, so I don't know that they'd excel at any Olympic sports.
See, my character, if it was Winter Olympics, it probably would have been ice skating. But because she's from like the northern tundra, she's kind of a tribal wood elf.
Yeah. Nice.
So it would have been ice skating. And she is also a dual chain wielder. She wields like these chains. So I thought that would be really great to like just put the razor chains on her feet and then just get on the ice. With Summer, I don't know. I definitely know that swimming would not be her strong suit.
Is archery a winter or summer thing? I don't know.
It's a summer. I think they have some winter stuff for it too.
Because I do have one other character that's a rogue that has like a just insane modifier to their archery. So
that's kind of where I was gonna go to, but yeah.
Ooh, boxing. Maybe
she'd
do boxing.
Is it summer or winter? What are we choosing?
It is summer. It is the Summer Olympics.
Summer? Okay.
Yeah, it's the Summer Olympics.
Lance throwing.
Lance throwing.
I know what it is. It would be rhythmic gymnastics, and instead of the ribbons, it would be my dual wielding chains. Yes.
Cool.
Got it.
That is the correct answer. That is the correct answer. This was a test,
God
and if you hadn't said that, you were going to fail. All right. Well, that's all the questions we've got. I'm gonna just add a couple more questions myself though, because I just remembered because I've got them sitting in front of me. One of my fans sent me the D&D trivia, Trivial Pursuit, and usually to like warm up for a stream, I will ask the chat 6 questions from the D&D Trivial Pursuit. So the questions to you are, and chat you can answer as well. Creatures within the sphere of effect of the spell Silence are immune to what type of damage?
Force damage?
Is it force damage? Yeah.
It is not force
Or
damage.
psychic? Like
Nope.
Cold damage.
it's so silent that they can't take cold damage. It is thunder. Wraith gets there first.
There we
Thunder
go.
is sound damage.
oh,
And so they are immune to thunder damage because they're in a silence field. Dragon Issue number 83 from March 1984 carried a short story introducing what new campaign setting? Ooh, I should know this one. 1984.
1984?
Campaign setting was coming out in 1984. Realms.
Dark
Greyhawk
Sun?
was
Like-
first. Forgotten Realms was around 1984, wasn't
Can I Google it?
it? You could and get no points. It is Dragonlance. We're just talking
I
about
was gonna
Dragonlance.
say Dragonlance.
Yeah, didn't though.
That's
Damn it.
mom.
A lesser fey spirit that is bound to a tree becomes what kind of creature?
Wait, say that
And-
again.
An ent? Yeah.
A lesser fey spirit that is bound to a tree becomes what kind of creature?
What? Tree ant. Tree ant.
A treant?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a dryad. Dryad is correct.
Oh,
Man,
is
I'm
it
better.
a dryad?
I'm so
Oh.
much better than you all. When
it.
TSR compiled all of the early giant and drow modules into a single continuous super module, what was that product called?
Oh shoot.
I don't know this one.
All of the drow modules into
Drow
a
and
super
giant
module.
modules into one big super module.
I think it was something with the.
I'll give you. I'll say that
queen.
the drow is.
Welcome
the
to
biggest
Lame
clue.
Town.
Welcome to Lame Town. Is it? You got it. The drow is the hint there. It's to do with the
Underdark.
The Underdark.
It was called
Oh,
Queen of,
Lolith.
the Queen of Spiders. Another name for
Dang
Lolith.
it!
Yeah.
See, I said queen, but I was like, I couldn't remember the name.
That
Dang it.
super module was called the Queen of Spiders. Last two.
Your mom, yeah.
Which member of the Gygax family played Erak's cousin, a mysterious mage in the world of Greyhawk who never revealed his true name?
Steve.
One of his kids. One of
Steve.
Gygax's kids.
I feel like it's got to be Luke.
No,
I don't think it was Luke. No.
Ernie Gygax.
Barry Gygax.
So just to double check,
Barry?
you guys are on 0 out of 5 so far?
Dude,
Do I get a half point
I was
for
gonna
Queen?
say
Do we want to
Dragonlance.
just recount that just in case? That's
You're
just double check.
super
double
jealous.
Check. That's
Yep.
0.
Okay.
0, 0, 0, 0. Yeah, that's a 0
Rob
for all of
one.
you. Cool. And then the last question: which of the outer planes features a single sacred mountain encompassing 7 plateaus rising from a silver sea?
4.
Olympus.
7.
I
Is
just
it
know
a
that number.
Josh,
number?
Josh, you got
Is
this.
it a number?
It was not a number I was looking for.
Olympus.
Okay.
Which of the outer
Isn't that
planes
Olympus?
features a
Uh-huh.
single sacred mountain?
Is it Gary?
Is it the Celestial Manor or something like that?
Yeah, so close.
Right? Right?
Celestial.
I know it's something like that.
Throne.
It's a
Damn
mountain. The plane features a single mountain called Mount Celestia.
Rushmore.
Oh.
Mount Celestia is the answer.
Yes.
Oh wow, so that's
Well,
0 for
Josh,
6. 0 for 6
give
for the
it to
Dungeon
Josh.
Studios,
Give
everybody.
it to
I mean,
Josh.
come on.
Yep.
All right, looks like. Oh, look at the time. We're finishing our short rest. We're out of our water, our bourbon. We
gotta
have to
find the
extinguish-
wings.
We have to extinguish the fire. We're losing the light, so we've got to continue on finding our wings, finding the best story to tell, finding the time stop spell, which is a pretty lofty goal for a 9th level spell, and just finding a bunch of gold. So as we are packing up our camp and putting our bedrolls back and stuff, why don't you tell people, remind them where they can find you guys?
Amber, go ahead. You're good at this.
Oh, okay. Well, you can find us on YouTube at as I blank out.
Dungeon Studios.
Dungeon Studios. Search us Dungeon Studios. We also are on Facebook. We have a
Dungeon Studios on Facebook.
Dungeon Studios on Facebook. We also have a Discord server. There's usually a lot of links in our YouTube videos, so if you want to join us on our Discord server, as we've talked about, we're just a collective of creatives. So if you're one of those creative individuals and you just want to hang out with us, we are on our Discord channel all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Wonderful. Excellent. And if you are here from the Dungeon Studios community and you don't know who I am, I'm Robert Hartley GM. You can see the name below me here if you are watching the stream, or if you're listening on audio later, ROBERTHARTLEY GM. And I've got that handle on all the platforms because I was lucky enough to grab it on every single one. So, so Robert Hartley GM on everything. Or you can find me on my website, roberthartleygm.com. All right. Do you guys have anyone on Twitch that you'd like to raid into at the end of this stream? Otherwise I can choose who we're raiding.
Do they have to be live right now?
Yeah, somebody that's live that I can send my audience off to say, hey, check these people out.
Oh.
I know RKDM, he's on Twitch, but I don't know if he's live right now.
Yeah, I don't think he's live right now.
But that's
one
Russell
of our voice
Kirkby,
actors.
Dungeon Master. RKDM for Russell Kirkby.
Check out RKDM. I think I'm following him actually because I remember getting his getting his business card after that that event that I met him at.
He'll never let us live it down.
All right. Well, I will choose who to raid. Then we are going to raid into. Let's see. We've got Darling Creepshow online. We've got Dork Tales, Hero Zone, Quincy's Tavern, Monty Glue, Clementine. Let's go, Darling Creepshow. We haven't raided her in a while. All right. Raid Darling Creepshow. She's usually doing mini paintings and things, so stick around and enjoy the stream.
Oh, that's nice.
Thank you three for joining me. I will see you at some point in the future, not too distant future, hopefully. I'll see you, Michael, tomorrow when you steal my podcast. I'll try to.
I'm coming for you, Rob. I'm coming for you.
As for mods and people in the audience, thank you very much for being here. I'll see you guys in the next stream tomorrow sometime. Bye.
See ya.
Thanks, Rob.
Bye.
Thanks, Rob.
Hey there. Did you know that a number of my videos are also available as a podcast? Check out the links in the description below.